Introducing new Moth Be Gone. Welcome back to WETT The Splash, the home of all your naughty little secrets.
We are live from the scene of the accident, and the death toll has climbed to a staggering rate.
You know, folks, the Masters are going on right now. And to me, the Masters is just some form of, like, rich, white, old dude slumber party. You know, because we can't do that shit anymore. You know, because, like, I feel like, you know, like, events like that is where you get to party when you're older. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, maybe there's going to be a drink ticket or two. Ooh. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some merch. Ooh. You know? And, like, I don't know. When it comes to the Masters, I feel like that's got to be the most... First of all, a lot of walking to be a fan of that game.
Okay. Hold on.
All right, yeah.
I am naive.
Okay.
Explain to me now, Masters.
Masters, I think, is like the Super Bowl at golf for all I know. But I think there's only one. It's a tournament. Tiger Woods is there.
Okay.
I know he's there.
Is this the Masters of golf?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think their Super Bowl or their World Series. I think it's called the Masters.
Yes.
And that's where they get that like green jacket.
Masters.
Did you ever see Happy Gilmore?
Yes.
Essentially, that's what he's playing in.
The Masters.
Yeah, to get that special green jacket or whatever at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the reward.
Yeah.
No money.
There's probably money.
Just just rapport, right?
Yeah, because if you have one of those jackets, you know, you're like one of the few.
Status.
You know, it's like as football players, like, or like another team sports, like, you know, the whole team doesn't get to the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. Just certain players. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, that's their golf is like, that's their Hall of Famers. Like,
the
look at
Masters.
Love
it.
Yeah.
Love it.
With every other sport, you know, you get a seat and you get to chill there until the game is over. With the Masters, like, I don't even know. How do you go about being a spectator? Because, first of all, I don't know how many motherfuckers are in it. I'm assuming it's like 20 at least. Right? And
yeah,
like,
probably.
And, like, let's say you have 20 people, right? And they all got to go 18 holes.
Yep.
That's a long time. First of all, do you follow just who you like, or do you follow everybody? Do you got to watch 20 motherfuckers at a time come up and swing at that thing?
Probably, yeah.
And then you're allowed to, like, move as the horde. And then also,
yeah. I would expect so, yeah.
And then they put the horde, like, in the weirdest places. Like, sometimes they put them, like, right around the green. Like, I watched a video on Instagram. I think it was Tiger Woods. He fucking hit that shit and it came through the trees and it knocked some dude out in the crowd.
Oh, no.
And, like, the only thing I could think of is, like, why are they this close to the hole?
Because
like,
they can.
If you could get hit by the fucking thing, you're too close. You know, like, I watch rally racing a lot with Bubbles.
Yeah.
And rally racing is insane, right?
Really?
Yeah, because it's two-man racing. Mm-hmm. So you have your driver, and then you have your passengers, your pilot, your co-pilot. Mm-hmm. He's the one, he has a map. Mm-hmm. So he's telling you when the turns are coming, the degree of the turn. He's telling you whether or not you could floor through it or if you're going to need to slow down. Mm-hmm. And as a driver, you're just listening and not fucking crashing, driving as fast as you can. And you'll see these people come around turns in the dirt at like 80 miles an hour in like an old Subaru and catch air and like fly over like 4 people's heads because that's where they decided to wait on the track. And like sometimes, you know, I mean, all's fair. Like sometimes 10 or 20 people get ran the fuck over. Mm-hmm. You know, like, and you don't.
That's just part of the collateral, dude.
Yeah, and you can't feel bad because it's just like, well, why are you all gathered up on the turn like this? Like, that's how I feel about golf. It's just like, why are you? Like, I understand like when they're behind the guy, but like when people are actively hitting at you.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's a little weird when a ball's coming down at you.
Like, I mean, I guess the hope is that you're near the green. They're not going to be hitting that thing that hard, but like, what if they're far away?
Yeah, I don't know.
What if you're like 200 yards out and then he just smacks that fucking thing?
What if they smack it on a weird like edge of the club, you know, and it banks to the right really hard, and then just takes somebody's fucking dome out?
Yeah, and then are you in trouble, or they just like, or do they just have to accept it as a fan? Because like when you go to a football game or a baseball game or any of that, I don't remember ever signing like a what's that shit called when you a release
Terms
form?
of agreement or something?
No, when you can get hurt. Like there's
Yeah.
a specific word for it, like in some form of agreement, but
Yeah. Collateral, I don't know.
yeah, I forgot the name of it. Somebody knows it who's listening. But my point is like I've never had to be like I want to watch this football game. Make sure you sign this form that says if you die, we're not liable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I
Yeah.
feel like in golf, like, I don't see them doing that, right? So if somebody gets taken the fuck out, is it just like on you for being there? Can they sue the golf?
I don't
golf
know.
club, the tournament?
I'd actually I feel like
Because you're 1 in 1,000 to get hit by that motherfucker.
yeah, I feel like honestly maybe not football or like soccer or anything, but at least like baseball,
Yeah.
there's probably a clause somewhere in like the ticket purchasing process.
Liability.
For like any like balls that maybe hit you out on a home run or
because that happens
foul ball.
too.
Yeah,
I've seen videos of people get KO'd by a foul ball. And
Yeah,
shit,
yeah.
Which is also hilarious.
Yeah, so I bet you there's probably in the ticket buying process there is like you're agreeing to terms and conditions,
Yeah, and then
so
you
it's
would
probably
never
snuck
see
in
them.
there.
Yeah, you'd never see them.
Yeah,
You're
of
just trying
course.
to get that shit for $30.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, man.
So it's probably stuck in there similarly.
It is funny
you
to
know?
think of like somebody getting just fucking wrecked by a foul ball, and the whole mentality is just like you're on your own, bro. Get to the hospital.
You wanted to be here, bro.
Yeah. Sorry, it's not on us.
We'll help you, but
How's
like
that-
it's
it's not my fault, dude.
you start pointing fingers, I'm gonna tell you,
Yeah.
kiss my ass.
I'm the
dude.
peanut guy, and I got rounds to make. All right, so stop bleeding on my fucking shoes and get out of here, you prick.
Unless you want peanuts for $3.50, then
Yeah,
that's
and
cool.
in which case I do not have change either. Not for you, wrong jersey. Shouldn't be bleeding all over my seats.
Bitch.
I'm a janitor after this too. Okay,
Bitch.
you know how degrading that is to put down my hot bag of peanuts and pick up a mop to just collect old beer stains and your stupid blood.
Do you see a janitorial sticker anywhere?
Back 9 problems. Promo code thickness, all lowercase letters, gets you 10% off the most violent sports in the world. And
Remember-
probably one of the most racist sports in a
Huh?
beautiful way.
In golf?
Actually, you know what? That's a good question. What do you think is the most racist sport? Ad is over. Don't worry about that.
Okay. This is disconnected from Back 9 problems.
Well, okay. Yeah, totally disconnected. What
Wait,
do you, all right.
do you think golf is racist?
Yeah,
Really?
a little bit.
How so?
Well, first of all, Tiger Woods is the one black guy. Both of us know that.
There's
and
got
that
to
should
be more. There's no way.
No, not with a name.
Well, of course, not famous.
So there you
You
go.
know? But on the
think
flip side,
that's-
how many white people are famous in basketball?
There's some. Larry Bird.
Case
wasn't
in
he
point.
White? Wasn't he white?
Current motherfucker.
No, okay. Yeah, no, I don't know. Music? I don't know their names. I'm sure there's at least one guy per team.
Let's see. Golf.
No, but it blows people's mind that Tiger Woods is black, and he's only half black. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh,
that's-
yes.
Like everybody's like staring at him, like, "Holy shit, how'd this guy get here?" Like like when there's a white guy on an NBA team, everybody's just like, "Oh, okay, we'll just bench him." Tiger gets up in golf, and they're like, "How did this happen? Your neighborhoods don't have golf." And it's like black people can't swim because their neighbors don't have pools.
So according to the internet, there's currently only 4 black golfers with PGA Tour status.
How many golfers have PGA Tour status?
That
That's
is-
going to be the fun question.
Well, those are the only. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You're right. So
Yeah.
we'll look at that in a second. So that's Tiger Woods, obviously. Harold Varner III,
Nice.
Cameron Champ,
Okay.
nice name. Joseph Barmlett are the 4. That's
Barmlett.
4 out of 260 tour regulars.
Wow.
So that's 0.015%.
Oh, well, okay. So
pretty-
there's always a chance that you might see one.
So now, okay, basketball.
Okay. I feel like this is not going to be anywhere near as skewed.
Probably not. Probably not nearly
There's
as much.
no
Yeah.
way.
Basketball.
But there's a lot more basketball players.
This is true.
Ooh.
Brain.
There's a lot of basketball players. But
Philadelphia.
I think golf's racist also because like there's no premium like basketball courts, no premium football fields, no premium soccer fields or baseball fields. You either get one that's part of the town, one that's part of a gym,
Mm-hmm.
or minor league, major league, and schools. Right? But
Yeah.
with golf, you have public and private.
Okay.
Right? When's the last time you ever saw like a private basketball court? Right?
Not a long time.
Private golf courses are fucking everywhere.
Yeah,
and
it's
that's
true.
why like I think it's like, keep some people
It's
out.
definitely the rich person's, the wealthy person's sport for fucking sure.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Which
Yeah.
tends to be white people. So there's that.
Yeah, engines.
Engines. Okay, so I
Engines
got
are
the
getting
stat
up
here.
there. Okay.
So 16% of white players are in the NBA as of 2021.
It's a lot better than 0.15.
Significantly better, for sure. How many do you think are
Playing?
Black players
Oh God.
of the
Okay.
100%
So how many white players were there?
16?
16 white guys.
Mhm.
All right. Well, then I would say there's got to
They
be
do
at
take
least like
into account-
500 black people.
They do take into account Latino, Asian, and a couple other ethnicities as well.
I'm gonna say like 400 or 500.
For no, percent wise, how many percent wise do you think?
Oh, it's black.
Of black, yeah.
Oh, probably
yeah,
like
1%.
91.
73.
Really?
Yeah,
Son
yeah.
of a bitch.
Well,
Where?
Because
In America?
Because there's white players
In
and
my
it's 16%.
This is NBA players.
Yes, 16% of white players
Wow.
in NBA are white brain,
Yeah.
and 73.2% are black players.
Okay, so
and
that
only-
that 30% includes like towel washers.
Yeah,
And, like,
well, 16%
like
and 73
water
already
boys.
brings it up pretty high.
Yeah.
You know, so the Latino players are only 3%, and Asian players are 0.4%.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Dude, when have you ever seen a basketball game and it's not predominantly black on the court?
Very rare.
Yeah. That number shocked me. I
Yeah.
thought it was gonna be way more tilted.
Yeah, you know, actually, AJ, a lot of him and his friends that are almost predominantly Filipino go play basketball all the time.
Oh, Filipino people love basketball.
And cool because the Bay Area loves fucking Warriors, dude.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so that's at least here that number or
Yeah,
percent's
but
probably
you
skewed.
know, I can't name a
you know.
Filipino basketball player.
No,
They do,
no,
you know. When I was
none
going
of
to
them are tall
Mount,
enough, unfortunately.
when I was going to Mount, pretty much like all the Asian kids were always playing basketball at lunch. Like
Yeah.
that was totally normal. Yeah. And the white kids
Basketball's
were
dope, dude. It's a fun sport to play in general. I'm terrible at it, but
yeah,
it's fun.
I'm terrible at it, and it is a good time. But I'm just so fucking like, it's one of those ones where I'm so bad at it, like I don't even want to play anymore as an adult. Like,
Oh, fair.
I think as an adult,
Yeah.
you can get me to play baseball.
Yes, same.
You can get me to bowl.
Yeah, bull's cool.
You know what I'm saying?
Like
You
bowl.
might even get me on like a game of football if it's like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But other than that,
Flag
bro,
football
like,
is kind of cool.
my soccer days are behind me.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what
I
I'm saying?
can't do
That's
soccer,
never
no,
happening
no,
again.
No, my
full
ankles scream, bro.
full court basketball, not happening. Not fucking happening. I'll play.
Only half.
I'll play horse with you only.
Word.
Only.
Word.
And half.
Word. Word.
And we're playing fun words like poop. We're not playing horse. You go to pee.
Yeah, 4 letters or less.
Oh, you have to pee. You
Yeah,
loser.
ho ho, pee pee.
we got his pants.
I've always been I always gravitated towards baseball.
Baseball for me. It's funny because it's one of the most boring sports, but has some of the best highlights.
I think I always gravitated towards baseball playing. Let's be specific, actually.
Oh, okay.
Because I can agree.
Yeah,
that
baseball's fun to play.
Baseball can be boring most of the time, and it can be exciting when like both teams are neck and neck. You know,
Yeah,
back
yeah.
and forth scoring, and
Yeah.
it's close and shit. That's cool. You know, but so a lot of times, most games I've been to in baseball have been it's very clear who's gonna win from like the second or third inning.
Yeah,
you know?
but like half
And all
the
the
game, you
excitement's
get to
gone.
kind of just chill on the bench, waiting for your
It's a
turn to
vibe.
bat. Like,
Don't get me
you know,
wrong.
talking shit with the boys. Like,
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
we
yes,
get out
playing.
there and then you try to hit a dinger.
Ooh, yeah,
You
dude.
know, and that's about it. And then when you're on defense, it's like,
Yeah.
man, just pick a
Yeah.
spot where nobody's hitting that.
Nothing.
shit.
When I
You know,
played
over there.
softball briefly, and it's recreational softball, so nothing crazy,
Yeah,
right?
I
But
was the goalie.
nothing was ever more satisfying to me than hearing everyone in the outfield and infield hear me miss because my aim was
Yeah.
terrible, but I had a lot of power. They just watched my bat miss, but you could hear the wind woo behind my swing, and even the pitcher would be go, "Oh shit, okay, back up," and then everyone backs the fuck up,
Yeah,
you know.
you missed the next
and,
fucking 3.
and then I miss all of them, yeah, and then I go back.
You're like that guy from Signs. His professional baseball player.
Oh yes, yeah,
He's
yeah.
all home runs and strikeouts and nothing in between.
Yeah, no RBI.
Swing away, Thomas.
No line. Yeah,
Swing
swing away,
away.
Merrill. Yes, yeah, that's right.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
dude, 100%, 100%.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
so bad at softball, but I just loved playing it.
Yeah.
You know, I was always outfield because usually You're an outfield for two reasons. Either A,
Yeah.
you're really good and fast, and you can
Yeah.
catch everything that comes your way, right?
Yeah. Or you're on
B,
the other side of outfield.
Yeah. Or B, you can't really play anything else, so you're just thrown out there and hope that balls don't go your way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the best spot
You know,
to be. You're
I've
just hanging
caught
out, trying to pull
out
the
of-
butterflies and shit.
Yes, out of I think I want to say 8 or 9 outfield like bombs that sent my way in
Yeah.
like the I don't know like 3 or 4 seasons I played. You
Yeah.
know, I caught probably 2 of them,
When
which
we
is not terrible,
when
but
we
it's
were
also not
kids-
great.
when we were kids, I always took first base because it got a lot of action, but like it felt like when you're kids, it's not that crazy.
Yeah,
Nobody's hitting it out of the park.
yeah,
Nothing that crazy.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
usually as first place, you did pretty well.
Yeah,
Like,
Uh-huh.
as long as you caught it.
yeah, yeah.
Like nobody was fast
You
enough.
could react
like-
easily too.
Yeah,
You know,
it was great. It was super fun. I liked baseball, but now I like Ghost of Tsushima. I've
What a
been
transition.
Killing Mongol. Well, it's still
Hey, it's
talking
a
about
game.
racist.
It's a game.
So
Oh,
let's play a game. I like
that's
to call.
not the segue I was going for, but okay.
Let's play a new game. I like to. Where are we? Did we pick 10 minutes? Did we beat 10 minutes? Fuck you, YouTube, you bastard pieces
yes,
of shit.
we're
Okay,
at
fuck
15.
YouTube. All right. Fuck them. Every single. We got tanked in the fucking algorithm.
Yes, we
'Cause
did.
if you,
yeah.
here's the thing. I didn't know this. It's the first 10 minutes you can't swear.
Yes, that's what I've heard from some places.
Yeah, like we're shadow banned. You know how I know we're shadow banned? Because I'm subscribed to the show. I watch YouTube every day, and it never shows up anymore. That's how
That
you know.
sucks.
That's how you know when it dropped 10 minutes ago and somehow it's not there.
Yeah.
They got us. So you gotta wait for that 10-minute mark. But
Well,
now,
also, I think the algorithm depends too, right? Doesn't it?
well, that's part of it. Is like they'll hide your shit if you're breaking those rules. They'll stop showing it to the people who were normally getting it. It makes it even harder to spread it.
Huh. Didn't know that.
Yeah, they're hiding it. They're fucked.
Whatever.
But we've already passed it.
Whatever.
So fuck them. Fuck
Fuck 'em.
YouTube.
Fuck
Fuck
'em.
everybody who listens.
Fuck
to this
everything.
shit. Who
Yes.
cares?
Fuck them.
Yeah, yeah.
Fuck them.
But so a new game I want to play called Racist or Retarded.
Okay.
Now, do you think that this is racist or that I'm retarded?
All right.
Ghost of Tsushima
Sure.
and games like that
Okay.
promote racism.
Why?
Because now all I can think about is how badly I want to kill Mongolian people.
I think you're retarded.
I just like, dude, Mongolians gotta go, bro. Like, they're a serious problem. They're violent. They got those weird dog bears.
Serious problem.
They got
dude.
dog bears and they light people on fire like relentlessly.
Oh man.
I think they gotta go.
I think that is an executive decision.
I think GTA makes people hate the police. I think Ghost of Tsushima makes people hate Mongolian
Okay.
people.
All right. Yeah. I no.
No?
No. I think that's just, I think it's a bit of history.
Yeah.
It's a
It's a bit,
It's a drop of time.
I'm choosing my side.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Oh,
I've got no
fucking
problems
God.
hating on one and loving on the other. Although I still stand behind it, samurais were like the dumbest warriors in our like warrior timeline.
Sure.
Now, warrior timeline.
Yeah.
When I say warrior timeline, I'm talking about like the Romans. I'm talking about the Greek. We're talking about ninjas. We're talking about Egyptians.
Yeah. All of
Spartans,
them. All of
samurai,
them.
colonials,
Yep.
like
the
wartime
fucking crusades,
soldiers,
dude.
any soldier of any era.
Dude,
I think
battle
the samurai were
paladins.
still the fucking dumbest.
Yeah.
Like the whole
yeah.
the whole thing was like it was like you gotta it's honor, so come here and stand and fight me, and then
Yeah.
you just like poison them, and then they just die.
It sucks, yeah,
Like-
because the twist of it, they're only cool and epic and all that stuff if like the concept of wartime honor didn't shift from culture to culture and time over time.
Exactly. Like
Right?
yeah, when they're fighting each other,
yeah,
sure they'll line up 1-on-1 and fucking stand in the dueling pit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And one person will fight the other,
Yeah.
and then the whole
Yeah.
town will be given over.
Yeah, and the
Like-
in the current like landscape of warfare,
Yeah.
modern day warfare,
No, you just get a musket
they
to
just
the
get
face.
obliterated. Yeah, exactly.
Like that
Yeah.
movie, the Last Samurai with Tom Cruise.
Mhm.
My dad loved that movie,
Mhm.
so I've watched it quite a few times. Not a bad movie,
No,
not at all. But
it's great.
it's just another example of how samurai are just willing to just die
Yeah.
for their own principles. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally, Tom Cruise goes at one point to the whites, and he's like, "Look, these guys are basically Mongoloids. Please just let them have their fucking honor. They're going to kill themselves for this." And he's just like, "Look, then we'll fucking let them die." You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes back and he tells the samurai chief guy, and he's like, "Hey, they got some weapons. I'm gonna tell you what. I know you've never heard of a bullet, but they're firing them like air, like it's stronger than an arrow, and they could fire like 1,000 per second.
Yep.
Out of these little big gun things that they have, and I'm gonna tell you what, they got as many of those gun things as we have horses.
Early Gatling guns.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like they line up, and on the hill, all the Gatling guns just ready to mow them down. And Tom Cruise looks at him one more time. He's like, "This is just stupid."
Yeah.
And he's like, "For honor, you know."
Yeah.
And then they just all died.
Yep.
They all died.
Yep.
Nobody made it through.
Yep.
There wasn't this beautiful like horse dodging moment.
Nope.
Where they somehow like they get past the Gatling guns, and then it becomes this like
Targets.
Close range guns versus swords kind of epic shit. Where
Sandbags.
like a musket. I would imagine a samurai versus a musket. If they started within like 3 feet of each other, would be a problem.
Flesh puppies.
Yeah. Yep. Instead, they were just they were cheese ready to be Swissed. So they were fucking melted.
Yeah, dude.
No chance, and it was all literally just for pride.
Yep.
And like in this game, like you kind of, it's like almost like they mixed in. It's like you're a samurai who's learning how to be a ninja.
That's cool.
That's how I feel about this game, because they teach you all this ninja shit. And everybody's calling you dishonorable the whole time. You're dishonoring your whole family the whole time. Like, nobody's about it. Like, your fucking uncle, your uncle, he gets taken. And by the Mongolians. And you go and you save him. And he's the first thing he does is tell you how dishonorable you are.
Dishonorable.
Dishonorable. You kill a Mary Gowron from behind. Not good.
No, it's good.
You dishonor me. You said not good for me. Fuck you, bitch.
Wait,
no, yeah, dude,
wait,
like literally, like
didn't ninjas and samurais war at
yeah,
one point?
they did, because the samurai, the
Oh, that's
ninjas
funny,
were like
dude.
the farmers and shit that the samurai were like oppressing.
Who won, ninjas or samurai?
Probably ninjas, dude. Samurais were stupid. Just died on their blade for fun.
I feel like ninjas were probably like what took out a lot of the samurai era.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
I
yeah,
could be
because
wrong.
I think,
I'm gonna look this
because
up.
the samurai, they were like the police. Like the high honor police, like they were working directly for the king, and they upheld like justice and shit like that. And the ninjas were the poor people, like the farmers and shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would imagine the ninjas were killing the fuck out of the samurai, because the samurai were just standing there being giant battle tanks, and the ninjas were like running around throwing black eggs in their face and fucking stars and shit like that. And they had their own katanas, so they could drop down and have at it if they needed to. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the whole game, you're basically being taught by, like, this poor bitch, who in my eyes is a fucking ninja. Her, like, the character Yuma is just a ninja, straight up. Like, they don't say that, but her whole thing is she teaches you how to, like, hide in bushes and fucking slit throats.
That's cool.
And how to, like, start using tools to fight, and, like, how you don't always need to just go stand at the front gate and yell for people to come out.
Yeah.
Because that's how the samurai does it. He walks up
Come
to the
fight
gate.
me.
He's
Yeah.
like, "Who wants it? Send your best guy." And like in the game, spoiler alert to anybody who hasn't played this somehow, there's like one scene where you go to like enter a fortress, right? And you open the door, and no shit, the most realistic thing I've ever seen in a video game happens. He opens the door. There's a bunch of soldiers there. He goes to square off with one at a time, and as soon as like he like gets ready to fight the one guy, they just drop like 3 stun grenades on his ass, and then beat the shit out of him.
Nice. Yeah.
It's like, that's how you fight a samurai.
That's mhm.
You're gonna let him. Everybody's gonna line up.
Don't give him a chance.
Everybody's gonna line up to fight this master swordsmith.
Yeah, one
who's
by
never
one.
tasted pussy in his life because he's been swinging steel around.
Let me just, basically bow my head down for you to chop it off.
Dude, Jesus Christ,
Jesus
that's all
hell.
that guy does.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't play Call of Duty versus a 15-year-old, and I wouldn't stand up on a samurai 1v1. No, we got to jump that motherfucker. Somebody needs to hit him in the head with a rock, and the other one needs to try to light him on fire.
Yep.
Because he's, a tank. He's in a battle suit.
Yeah. Honestly, samurais are cool. I like the whole,
armor's
honor
cool.
stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's sick. Don't get me wrong.
The
but
idea is cool.
practicality of modern war doesn't work,
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what I'm reading here, especially in a lot of these details. So ninjas actually didn't really stand too much of a chance against the samurai. The samurai mostly won.
I'd imagine. Okay, that's fair.
What caused them both to die out rapidly was guns. Literally, the
Fuck you
West
guys.
came.
That's right.
And fucking
That's right.
just changed everything, right? And then actually, so that nullified the use of ninjas, essentially. And ninjas became basically scouts or a form of bodyguards, usually. Samurais died out because honor, they refused to bend, which then got mowed down by pretty much, it wasn't the West, it was more people who were buying guns and technology from the West.
Yeah.
So, like, literally Japan slowly changed before the samurai's eyes, and of course they're not going to bend to that, and then more and more of that thinking died off, you know? And so, yeah, that was the Meiji Restoration, which began in 1868, which marked the end of the samurai era and more of the shogun like control kind of thing. You know? The imperial rule was more after centuries of shogun control. So
what were the shogun? I thought the shogun were samurais.
It says in the powers of the
Whenever I think shogun, I just think of like mini boss samurai. Like a samurai that's like 6'4".
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I had it backwards. You're right. Yeah, shoguns were what were the ones that were in control. The imperial rule returned after shoguns had taken over.
Damn, imperial?
So,
how did they say that?
Imperial. Right, imperial. There was basically imperial rule before shoguns, and then the shogun control became a thing.
Okay.
Which I don't know. I think that's the Edo period.
Okay.
And then eventually, as westernization came through, imperial rule was restored, right?
Okay.
Which makes sense. So the imperials were the ones that were buying a lot of the material from the West in general, and a lot of war tech.
That makes sense.
You know, which to get their control back, essentially.
Well, can you imagine if like your biggest enemy was a samurai, and then you found out what a gun was?
Shit,
that's a happy day.
Dude, can you imagine?
That's a happy day. I'd wake up drunk for that fight.
Yeah,
you know. What I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
But just technology wise, and like just
they have
cultural.
They think you're a fucking wizard.
Yeah, can you imagine being the like I don't know, lieutenant or captains or whoever that are part of that fucking because they had to show it, you know, right? There was probably like a field test some kind somewhere, and just watching basically lightning speed bullets or rocks piercing through anything at a distance, bro. Like that probably was fucking mind blowing.
Oh yeah,
dude.
and it must have been so like humiliating to be the one guy that did get struck by the arrow on the other side.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because like you guys are killing these guys like 30-1. But you're one of the casual. You're the one.
Yeah,
you're that casualty.
Hit,
it's like what happened to him?
Yeah, you had the rifle in
was on
hand
a hill.
and everything. Yeah,
motherfucker.
He had a rifle. It's like he didn't shoot. I don't know.
He fucking sucked at it.
Yeah,
you know, we kept trying. We put him on the end. Kind of just hoping that everybody would shoot around him.
You know, what can you say?
He's dead.
What can you
Fuck
say? Yeah, right.
Fuck him.
We just need to get more bodies. It's fine. We got plenty of these fucking guns.
Yeah, cut off one of the legs. We'll cook it and let's keep moving.
You know, how often was cannibalism a thing? Do you think in like old wartime?
Dude, that's one thing they never talk about that I bet was way more rampant than they say.
Yeah,
I bet we've dealt with cannibalism a few times in our human history.
Probably
way more than they talk about. They never talk about it.
Yeah,
like they talk about the idea of cannibalism, but they never talk about. Remember the Dark Ages when we got down to like. It was like 13,000 people on the earth.
Plagues and shit too.
You know what I'm saying?
You
like
know?
you can say you didn't eat nobody.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
You ate someone.
It makes you wonder because they talk about tribes. Like this is a completely segue to a different conversation, but there's like on the history channels where they talk about old tribes that used to do that. They would cannibalize as part of like a sacrificial,
sometimes
ritual or sacrament.
Some thought they were like getting their power of their enemies.
Yeah,
some thought like eating their soul. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or, or just like intimidation.
Yeah.
You know?
So it probably happened more often than a lot of people would even think about.
Oh yeah.
You know, which is crazy to think about in general.
Especially like, think about like if you were part of a tribe and like there hasn't been a hunt.
Yeah.
In like 2 months.
Yeah.
And you guys have just all been eating berries for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's getting fucking eaten.
Yeah.
Somebody's getting
Protein's
hit in the head with a rock.
Important for the body, dude.
Yeah. Somebody's getting a rock to the head and then fucked and then eaten.
Eaten.
Can't waste the whole while it's warm. Not while it's warm, damn it. And then it'll get warm again when it's on the fire.
That also probably did happen, unfortunately.
Damn right.
Get
this
God.
nut off. Yeah. Do you think dudes have been jerking off since the beginning of time, or do you think we picked that up?
Yeah, no, dude.
You don't think we just picked that up somewhere?
No,
along
dude.
The road?
I think we as cavemen have been playing with our dicks, dude.
Yeah.
As apes do masturbate. Actually,
It's true, huh?
I think genuinely, as long as
they finger themselves.
as long as we can touch ourselves,
Yeah.
you know, I think as soon as that happened, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
what?
like the
This
beginning
is
of the meaning of life from Monty Python,
Yeah.
where it starts with the apes and then they're beating their chest and then
Yep.
it gets lower and they get to their dick and then
Yeah.
it's just everybody's jerking off.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's beautiful.
Yep, exactly. I think since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
Maybe not the dawn of time, but the dawn of man,
Yeah.
maybe.
Dude, speaking of apes,
Yeah?
I've been watching this show on Netflix called Unlocked.
What is that?
Dude, holy shit, this is awesome. I really like this. So remember that old Michael Moore movie that they showed us like in high school and everybody became a cuck and wanted to move to Denmark because it was talking about
What?
rehabilitation over punishment in the jail system? So
I do remember this, yes.
they took you to like Norway and it was like a 4-bedroom house
live-
with 3 prisoners
yeah.
in it and like
And you have a job on the island,
yeah, and
right?
you get to like boat to the city or whatever and come back to the island and then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, full
Didn't-
job. And
I think he interviewed an inmate while playing chess out in a garden.
yeah,
right?
and the guy was like a murderer. He killed his own parents.
Yeah, like a chainsaw axe.
So
guy,
everybody was
whatever.
talking about like, oh, see how much better it is in these fucking shithole countries, and that are always afraid of being just erased by the bigger
Conveniently-
ones around it.
Yeah. Also conveniently leaving out the fact that they're a significantly smaller population and have the funds to be able to do.
Yeah,
Because
seriously.
their jails aren't nearly as
Amen.
big.
Amen. I'm
You
as
know?
American as it gets. You name me a country with a population this big that's got it figured out better.
Yeah.
This big.
Yeah.
It can't be smaller than this because that's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's less motherfuckers to take care of.
I think every big country has different kinds of problems.
Oh yeah.
Because China has successful words, but also have significantly different problems.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
who
Like,
knows?
You know, but so I've been watching this, and what it is it's a jail in Little Rock, Arkansas, and this jail like it's known to be kind of violent. So
Okay.
all the people are constantly under 23-1 lockdown. So 23 hours in the cell, you get 1 hour a day out of the cell. So the sheriff, who's a total cuck, he's the biggest cuck I've ever seen in my life. He decides, somebody else decides for him, and then he comes on camera and decides that he wants to do an experiment where he'll leave all the pod doors open
Oh, fuck.
and then take the deputies out.
Oh, fuck.
Right? So all the prisoners are just together 24 hours a day. Doors don't lock.
Yeah.
You know, so that you could close your pod door, but you can't lock your pod door.
Yeah.
You know, so like, you know, it's, and the idea is, you know, they kind of have to govern themselves because if they fuck up, well, then they just close the door again.
Yeah.
You know, and they go back to 23 hours and 1, like, there's no skin off anybody's back. So the prisoners really have to fucking work together to make sure they're not like fighting and doing drugs and all that shit. So immediately, one of the old ones is like in love with the camera. It's so
Okay.
it's so quick. He's you know, he makes himself the main character right away, and he starts like talking to prisoners to make like a super team to make a shadow government within the prison.
Oh, no. Already, again, it's going to be causing problems.
Oh yeah. So then what that ends up
Yeah.
doing is he goes to a bunch of the old heads, and he starts making this super team, and they start getting all loud and yappity.
Yeah.
So all the young heads, they start fucking hating on him, right? Because you got these dudes who are like 40, 50 years old that have been in jail forever. And then you got these guys who are 21, 19, 20 that have already gotten capital murder charges
Yeah.
and are going to be in jail forever.
Yeah.
So they're clashing heads, right? Because the old guys, they know because they've been in the system, right? So they're trying to be like, don't fuck this up. When the food comes out, we'll all go back under lockdown like we normally would, and we'll do it in shifts like we used to. And like the younger guys are like, I don't want to be told what to do. Fuck you. Like if I
Yeah.
like being told what to do, I wouldn't be here. Plus,
Yeah.
you're a fucking criminal, so you're not gonna give me advice,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So tension, just
Yeah.
so much tension between the old and young immediately. And then they start figuring out like that there's no cameras in the cells.
Ooh.
So they start making drugs in the cells. They start
course.
fighting in the cells.
Yeah.
You know, they'll handle things, you know what I'm saying? Like so if a fight really has to happen, they'll try to get them to go to a certain cell and then they'll close the door and everybody like walks away or tries to. They're
Yeah.
you know, all the young ones of course are crowding around the window,
Yeah.
getting them caught and shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
They start making hooch and start making tattooing
Hooch.
and tattooing each other.
Yeah.
It shows how to make hooch. You two, it was like, water, the crust from their bread, and anything that's sugar.
Huh.
And they put it in a big bag and they just ferment the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Smart.
So they use like Kool-Aid packets
Smart.
and stuff for the sugar. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're making alcohol and getting drunk.
Smart.
And then they're making coffee sticks. So they would take a brown paper towel and they would dunk it in their coffee. And then they would dry it out in the sun and then roll it into like a joint and smoke it.
What the fuck?
That's how they were getting their smoke. There was no tobacco or anything else to smoke.
Huh.
So they would figure out ways to make like wicks out of long pieces of toilet paper.
Yeah.
So somebody would take like the equivalent of like 30 like squares and take the time to roll it over their leg to make a long super wick.
Wow.
And then they would use, a battery or a pair of glasses or whatever to start a fire with it. And then they'd hang it off of the wall so it would just slowly burn.
Yeah.
So they'd have a continuous lighter.
I definitely have a respect for
Resourcefulness.
for people in general, humans.
Yeah.
When combined with boredom and limited amount of resources.
And desperation.
Yes.
Yeah.
The things that they will come
they
up
reinvent
with.
fire.
It's quite
They reinvent fire.
impressive.
Like one of them is using like a battery and like a piece of foil, and
Yeah.
he's like, you only have 2 or 3 tries per battery to do this. I'm like,
You can almost see why evolution occurred for humans. You
Yeah.
know, because they're using more of their brain power to connect things. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunate that they're in the situation that they're in, and that they're usually crazy. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
but
So
in a small way,
it keeps,
see it.
as it goes on. The sheriff, who's again, he's like the biggest cuck in the world. You could just tell like he's super happy to be on this camera, that he's telling everybody in town about it. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just got that personality. Like there's like a scene where he's talking to like the warden and the other guy in charge, who by the way are fucking terrified because this asshole's coming in and saying like, let's take the most violent people in the world and fucking just open them up to each other. Because some of the people are like, there's this guy Tiny. He stabbed his first person at 8 years old.
damn.
He's just been opening. He doesn't like guns. He just opens people with knives.
Fuck.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
like
kind of scarier.
as soon as they open the door, the first thing he's like, I gotta go get me a blade. Like
No.
one of them makes a shank at one point.
Yeah.
And like it gets fucking wild.
Yeah.
But the sheriff, he's sitting at the table with these guys, and they're like, well, I think that I think it's after the first incident, right? And the warden, he's like, I think it would be a good idea if we put them under lockdown for like an hour, for like a day again,
Yeah.
and then reopen the doors as like a reset.
Yeah.
And then the other guy goes, reset, that's a good word. And the sheriff's like, that is a good word. And he's like, yeah, we're going to do that. And then next like few scenes, I've decided we're going to do a reset.
Oh my god.
And it's like, dude, you are a fucking nightmare.
What
Like,
the fuck, bro?
he's just, it's all about the fame on this one. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't care that,
Yeah.
he doesn't care if these guys all murder themselves at all.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can tell.
yeah.
Like, it's really just about the fact there's a camera coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then he starts adding, like, not necessarily obstacles, but challenges. So the first thing he does is he starts making it to where they have unlimited phone calls.
Oh.
But, there isn't a phone per prisoner.
Oh.
So you got to take turns.
1 or 2 phones in the space. Or
There
something, or?
was probably what it looked like maybe like 6, 3 like analog old school phones, and then 3 that were like touch screens that you do video calls through.
Yeah.
It looked like there was probably about that.
Oh.
And this is like I think 40 prisoners. So like, it immediately starts some tension because people are trying to skip each other. People are taking too long. Also, people are like, maybe they get a hold of somebody and they get bad news, so now they're mad, or maybe they can't get a hold of somebody, so they're mad. Like, it starts to affect emotions from outside the cell.
Uh-huh.
And then I think next what he does is he opens up a commissary. So instead of commissary coming once every 2 weeks, it was open commissary. They can get shit whenever they wanted.
Wow.
Which then all of a sudden the gambling
Yeah.
like went through the roof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so then they start gambling and they start making the hooch.
He's like adding temptation, essentially.
Yeah.
Into the space,
Yeah,
right?
and he's trying to make them essentially like how a regular community would run, but he's almost kind of doing it to fuck them, like because he's doing it so fast paced.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of want. It's almost like you feel like he wants them to fail.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. The way that especially the things that he's allowing them to do,
Yeah.
like it's temptation to gorge themselves or partake heavily.
Oh yeah, as soon as commissary opens up, dude,
gluttony, all that.
Yeah, they're holding casino tournaments.
Yep.
They're climbing, trying to steal batteries.
Pride
out of the,
becomes a thing.
They're trying to steal batteries out of the clock to start fires.
Pride was already a thing, but it's multiplied.
Oh yeah, there were smoking cells that would just always have a wick going and hella people smoking, people doing hooch. I think the third thing he adds is like unlimited visitation.
Yeah.
So now like, again, like maybe
connection to the outworld and everything.
maybe you call your mom and she doesn't show up. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe your baby mama tells you to fuck off, or like, like there's one dude who's like trying to get hold of his son, and it's just like a no.
Yeah.
His son's like 15, and it seems he's like 3. And it's just like a straight up, like, it's not happening, dude, even though he's right around the corner or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
I'm not visiting you, bro.
Yeah, and like there's definitely, like, they do a good job. I think it's like 6 weeks, right? So 40 something days that they do this, and they do a pretty good job. Like, there is some fights. They definitely make drugs and gamble and shit like that, but I feel like that's pretty human. Yeah. Right? Like, I feel like...
you indulge.
Yeah, they're smoking coffee, we're smoking cigarettes. They're drinking toilet hooch, we're drinking alcohol.
Yep.
I don't think that's the signs of a criminal. I think that's just everyday vices that we have as humans.
I think it's a false equivalence. Yes, they might be more likely to indulge in those things, but again, it's a false equivalence to mean that they're criminals.
Yeah. I mean, gambling, maybe it's like... Maybe, just because it leads to so much problems.
Same thing with alcohol,
but it's what it is,
and other stuff,
So it's about if you can handle it, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that he does is he starts, I think they're like 40 days in. His last obstacle is to bring in like 12 people from a different unit that haven't been doing this for like 40 days.
Oh, yikes.
Right? So for 40 days, like... They get to a point where like the old heads and the youngins kind of start to see eye to eye, like the old heads kind of stop chirping as much, and the youngins start to kind of like come together with what they're saying because they do respect them. They just don't want to be told to do. Mm-hmm. Then comes in like 10 dudes that are all new to
all
this,
up now,
all murderers just like them, But they haven't. They've just been doing 23-1 in this jail. Like they've never seen something like this, and like immediately one's like an OG like blood. Yeah, and he comes into a gambling table, becomes a problem like immediately. So they fucking jump him.
Oh, of course,
they bring him into a cell and they jump him and shit, and like, it almost gets the program taken. There's a few times where it almost all goes away.
Yeah.
But
close calls.
I really liked it. One, because I mean I've always been for the side of rehabilitation over punishment to a certain extent.
Right.
I think if you're just a person that's fucked up a lot and maybe had a shitty life, I think you could be rehabilitated, right? If you're just a fucking murderer who looks people in the eyes during, I mean, I think we can keep some jails for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I liked that Michael Moore movie. I didn't think it was possible, because that's a lot of houses to buy criminals for sure.
Yeah.
And if you told me I could choke my mom to death to get a free house,
what the fuck?
I'd start with my dad. See if I can get 2 places. But yeah, like, it's really good. It's been a while since like a documentary type show has had me like actually watching.
Yeah.
Typically you get like 1 episode, 2 episodes in.
You said this is a documentary, you said?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and like, okay, like, and then you might finish it as background noise.
Yeah.
This was like, no, this is like every episode. I'm like,
Sick.
I gotta see this. I gotta see. Somebody's gonna die.
Yeah.
And then the one thing that pissed me off, that I don't want other people falling into, it's rated TVMA, and the third reason is suicide. Nobody kills themselves.
Oh.
Piss me off. Piss me off, dude. No, because you're looking. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
They cuck you with it because, like, at the end and beginning of the episode, you see the TV MA rating for like drugs, violence, suicide. So the whole time, every episode ends, you go, "Oh man, who's gonna be the one that kills themselves?"
Yeah.
Like there's a suicide coming. I know it's coming. And then you get to the last episode, and you're like, everything's going pretty well. Somebody's gonna kill themselves now? Like everything's going great. Who's gonna do it? And then it doesn't happen, and you're like. Is it because somebody talked about suicide for a second?
Maybe.
Is that it? That was
Maybe.
the whole thing. Was somebody like wanted to kill themselves?
It's either that or it's an
Rightfully,
oversight. One of
yeah.
the two.
Like
Yeah.
there's this one inmate that rightfully wants to kill himself.
Yeah.
You know, he's in there for capital murder, and he's like 24 years old.
Yeah, you're gonna live the end of his life in
Yeah,
there.
it's like you want to spend the rest. You're only 24. That's a lot of time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's like,
well, nothing.
yeah. So he tells them that he's, they ask him if he wants to hurt himself. He says yes, because that's the honest truth.
Right.
Hoping that he get his meds changed.
Yeah.
And they take him to solitary, and then like the prisoners made the best point where they were just like, no, don't take him to solitary. Like we need to watch him.
Yeah.
That's going to make
Yeah.
things so much worse. Like,
Yeah.
no, he needs to be around people that care and are looking
Yeah.
after him.
Yeah.
and
I
shit.
was just gonna dig it deeper. Yeah.
So
yeah.
that was a really interesting look into how we treat that
yeah.
in the prison system.
uh-huh.
Like it's like it was one of those like in the moment you're like, yeah, no, that doesn't seem like that's supposed to be the answer.
Yeah.
It's like I want to kill myself. All right, well then you're going to be alone for 30 days. We're going to give you a blanket that if you pull on it, it pulls apart like mesh.
Yeah.
And that's it. You don't get a mattress pad, nothing. Anything you kill yourself with, you don't get.
Yeah.
So all he got was a blanket, and the bunk beds look like they're made out of concrete
yeah.
because you get a mattress pad to put on top of
Yeah,
it.
Dude, yeah, of course it's gonna make it fucking worse.
Way
dude.
worse,
Yeah,
dude.
like,
Like,
come on.
I think it's interesting. Out of the entire prison system, the whole is the most interesting thing. Solitary confinement, because
Yeah.
I think the greatest human torture you can do is that.
Uh-huh.
Because think about the effects it has on your brain.
Yeah.
You
You're
know,
right, you're right.
like not only like even if you're like a introverted person, there's nobody, nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
doesn't matter how introverted you are. Nobody, nothing.
Yeah.
Nobody to bounce your ideas off.
Nothing.
No perception
Silence.
of time.
Yep.
No perception of what day it is.
I wonder if that like creates schizophrenia for some of them.
I think it does. It must,
Yeah.
right? Like it's
Yeah.
got to leave some form
That's fucked,
like,
bro.
residue in
That's
your
so
brain.
Fucked, dude.
of yeah. So like that was one of those things that's like, maybe we shouldn't. I understand. Like, all right, maybe that guy's getting pretty hot. Maybe he tried to stab somebody.
Yeah.
Let's put him in there for a few days or
Yeah,
something. But
yeah.
like a suicidal person, that really does just seem like a way to speed it up.
Yeah, and you know it.
So you want
I
to kill
had a
yourself? All
thought-
right, sitting here.
I had a thought while you were explaining that, right? And I was like, like that seems so primitive in like how to deal with somebody, right? And it made me think, I'm like, man, like other than I guess living conditions sort of and food quality, when's the last time my jail system evolved from like medieval times, you
It
know?
didn't. Yeah,
right?
it hasn't,
Like,
right? Like
I don't think it has.
the only thing that's different is like some jails they get like phones.
Yeah, I guess
Or, like,
communication.
tablets now,
Yeah, I guess
yeah.
communication with family or
And we just
loved
update the
ones.
laws to make them safer as far as disease
Yeah,
goes.
like condition wise, it's better,
Yeah.
I guess.
But
But
not-
like the system as a whole, yeah, it's still just put them away.
Yeah, and because it's private industries,
Yeah,
so they have money to make.
yeah,
Jails got to pay rent.
that's right. Yeah,
Isn't
that's
that
true.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I don't understand that shit.
Prisons
at
pay rent,
all. I don't
dog,
understand
and
that
then
shit at all.
they hassle the town to get more prisoners because they need people to pay this rent.
Yeah,
You know, because think about it, like the prison is almost like a bank, right? It's none of their money; it's everybody else's money.
right.
So, like with the prison, it's like, how are we going to pay the rent? We'll take in prisoners, and then the state will give us money for having them,
Yeah,
and we'll use that to pay for everything and everybody,
it's so fucking weird,
right?
dude.
Like a bank. So it's
I
like
don't
you
understand
got to
that
have those
system.
motherfuckers. You got to have your.
Yeah,
So we're in this weird like infinite loop of like basically making sure once, you go forever.
yeah.
Because you got to keep the money going. It's not
Yeah.
about fixing people. It's about keeping this corporation alive.
And what's
and burning.
weird, as I bet this, I bet the system was more meant to be like a good thing in the sense of like, hey, like we'll pay you money for catching the bad guys and putting them away. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
But then that just translates into, hey, just find anybody to put them into these things, you
Yeah.
know, even if it's petty crime.
Well, I think
You
the
know,
idea of
so we can get that shit.
I think the idea of what's a bad guy changed.
Right.
Right.
Yes,
I bet it
yes.
was like all just like murder and rape back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like I think like things like, like fraud and tax evasion that just ended with you getting a bullet in your head in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Like they didn't necessarily put you in jail for that.
Right. Right.
You just got, like, the
somebody
firing
else
squad.
just put you away in a different way.
Yeah, I think frontier justice. I think a lot more people just got dealt with.
Yeah.
I don't think they were necessarily
Yeah.
going to prison.
Yeah.
And then it just became like, Man, I mean, there was a time in our society where homeless people were just arrested for being homeless,
Yeah, for just
right?
existing.
Which
yeah.
is what they're doing in Florida now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've made homelessness illegal outside in Florida.
Makes no fucking sense.
I kind of like
You
it.
know?
You know, here's the
What?
thing
How?
about
Why?
here's the thing about the Wild West that is Florida, right?
Yeah.
I've always thought to myself, if I
East,
was homeless, yeah, it's true, but I call it the Wild West because it seems to be lawless. It's the
Fair.
last true
The
America.
Wild East over there.
It's the last true bit of America loose in Florida. And I think as a homeless guy, I would go two routes.
Okay.
I would either move to a small town and try to become a farmhand
Yeah.
and live in a barn until maybe they let me inside, or at least I have some money to be inside.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Fight my way out.
Sure.
Or
Sure.
I'd go to jail. I'd just go to
Yeah.
jail because why would I want to be on the street, dude? Like, I'd rather
That's
be,
fair.
know I'm fed,
I think a lot of people do
have
do
some
that.
homies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Join the whites right away.
Yeah. I bet.
You know, whatever slur you want me to say, I'll say it out
Yeah,
for you.
well, no, you have to join some. You know,
Yeah.
if you're solo, you're way more vulnerable, dude.
Yeah, because
That's
you're going to get
terrifying.
questioned, like, right away, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
if you're white and you don't join the whites, first you're going to get confronted by the whites,
Yeah.
and then you're going to get confronted by the blacks, and then
Yep.
the Mexicans,
Yep.
and each one is going to whoop
You're
your
just
ass.
gonna beat the snot out of
So
you.
you got to go to, like, you
Yeah.
know. So, I mean, like, if I was a hobo, I'd be like, well, fucking, 3 meals, a gym, some
Yep.
homies.
Yep.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
crazy
Maybe we'll do
how
a talent show every
That
couple
ja-
months.
that jail culture creates what's the word segregation, I guess, basically.
Yeah.
Ostensibly.
Yeah, like,
Ostensibly.
like, I wonder if there's any, like, stories of, like, a homeless person using jail to get better. Right? Like, what if they were like, all right, let me put it out there. So this guy,
Yeah.
let's say this guy was in his 20s
Yeah.
and he lost everything, and it got to the point where he's like, now he's almost 30. He's like emaciated.
Yeah.
He's one of these, like, I'm not going to fucking steal from people hobos.
Uh-huh.
So he's just dying,
Yeah.
right? He goes to jail, starts getting some food, starts working out. He goes for something petty for like 3 or 4 months, comes back out like in shape.
Yeah.
He's got some color on him again.
Yeah.
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's alive again, and he used that energy to go get something done.
Yep.
Maybe he reads a lot while he's in there,
There you go.
figures something out, and then he goes and he finds. Because here's the thing, you could go be a tradesman, and pretty much any trade if you want to be a
Most
criminal.
places, yeah.
Yeah, you'll get a second chance if you're willing to work with your hands.
Yep.
Especially something dangerous.
Labor is needed, especially nowadays.
Oh yeah, especially dangerous shit. Like who's gonna work on the 5G towers? Criminals.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. My buddy Jerry does that shit. He should be.
You
in
want
jail.
to fall out of the sky? Great, we'll pay you $50 an hour.
Yeah, dude. Like I'd watch his Snapchats, and he'd be like, like 500 feet in the air on top of this giant tower, to where he's so high up that the land looks like a grid system.
Jesus.
Like you only see in planes,
Yeah,
where you
yeah.
start seeing actual perfect
that's
squares
crazy,
and shit.
dude. That's fucking crazy.
And it's just like him and 2 other Mexican dudes. There's Bonda music playing, and they're passing blunts up and down to each other
Yeah.
as they're hanging off the top of this, and
Yeah.
some electrical engineers are telling them what to do.
Yeah.
And they're making like, $120 an hour.
But
But a good
that
gust.
kind of job is definitely 100 plus an hour for sure.
But it's like, it's also one of those just like, we'll pay a criminal to do it because if they die, it's fine.
Sure, yeah.
We'll let them ball out, and either they'll go back to jail or fall off this fucking thing.
No one's willing to talk about it, but it isn't very much like they're less likely to have somebody who cares,
Yeah,
Like,
and you still, like, if they don't die, well, then they made really good money.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
So they can do whatever they want.
Money justifies everything,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, 100%, dude.
But I mean,
Christ.
I loved the idea
so true.
of like, I don't know, a new type of, like, almost like a third prison, right? Like there should be like, I mean, I guess there's halfway and 3/4 houses,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
those just feel like drug dens.
I don't know how well they're.
My buddy
even-
sold crack out of a halfway
Yeah, I
house.
was gonna say I don't really know how well they're managed, and they probably on paper make sense. In practicality, they probably don't work at all.
No, I don't
know?
think they work very well.
Yeah,
and then you have your jail, which is for like the not worst people, and then people waiting to be transferred.
Yeah,
And then you've got prison, which is like the shitty people. But it's
Right.
like, I don't know. I like the idea of what he did, kind of making them communities themselves.
yeah.
I just wonder on a mass scale if we just have too many current prisoners.
Probably.
You know, like,
Probably.
I think because of the way that we built this up as a business, and like everything else in America, if you have a capitalistic mind, you could get some shit done.
Yep. Yes, you
know
can.
what I'm saying?
You get a lot of shit
Like,
done.
I wonder how come nobody ever talks about big jail, but how much, everybody talks about big pharma and the grip they have on this country. What about big jail and the grip they have on this country, especially certain communities over others?
Because big jail is a conversation that most people don't give a fuck about.
Well,
Straight
yeah,
up.
because
Straight
it's like, well, you want me to defend rapists and pedophiles and murderers and shit? It's like, well, not everybody in there did that.
Yeah. It's just
You know?
out of nature,
Yeah.
No one is really willing to think
That-
about that,
yeah.
Because big pharma, that's just like, oh, it's the evil people hurting everybody,
Yeah.
This is evil people that probably shouldn't be treated poorly.
Yeah.
But as much as you can, white knight argue morality up and day,
Yeah.
no matter, it's just the populace is less likely to give a fuck.
Yeah. I think
it's just how it is.
But then the only other way to clear it is to speed up and make easier the death penalty.
Yeah.
You just go every 3 years, everybody that's currently in prison gets killed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Pretty much.
And then it'll get filled.
Why are people on the death
with all
row on for so fucking long? Like,
Because one dude, one fucking guy that was innocent got killed. Well, they said no to like the lawyer that had the proof that was going to prove him innocent, but it was already at the point where they were like, we're going to kill him anyway. And then they're like, well, now there's going to be a law named after this fucking guy because he was innocent and you killed him for no reason. And I think pretty much that was the powder keg of being able to sit 25 years on death row with a private cell and a TV set. Like, fucking A, dude. Like, that was the other thing was Death Row, from that Michael Moore movie, same movie, they made Death Row seem like that's what you should be aiming for.
Right.
That was
you're
the
cush
safest.
almost, yeah.
Yeah, like you private cells, probably on suicide watch all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like private yard time probably, and food comes to your cell instead of being on the yard. Like if you're scared of being around other individuals in prison, death row seemed like the way to go. You just keep appealing shit and appealing shit and appealing shit, and like eventually you'll probably die of old age before you die of the chair or whatever they're gonna give you.
The jail system just feels like an old system that we've been using for centuries, longer, right? That we've just band-aid features or quality of life stuff over time, because
just like garbage.
Because obviously a modern cell, I would feel like a modern cell would be still better than a cobblestone dripping damp fucking cell in the darkness.
Oh yeah, but think about garbage. It's the same way. We're still using the principle of let's just put it all in one place.
Yep.
And kind of try to forget about it.
Yep.
And then we started. And then what do? Okay, we've dug a fucking 3 football fields in length hole, and we've actually filled it. We filled it all the way. What do? We'll put some netting down, and then some soil.
Yep.
And then we'll build new housing projects on top of it.
Yeah.
That's like we have right next to us, essentially an entire town made of garbage. Bay Point. It's all made out of garbage.
Yeah.
All those fucking houses that were built when we were kids is the old dump.
Yep.
Like I even remember the old dump. Like I remember at one point making the connection that there wasn't a dump here anymore.
No.
I was like, wasn't there like in these hills?
Yeah.
Like trucks. And,
Once upon a time,
garbage mountains.
Yeah.
Now it's nice housing, quote unquote.
Yeah.
That's what we do. You know what I'm saying? Like
It's
you want to
nice
dig to China, you're gonna
housing.
find a fucking old car.
But you know what always weirded me out about those kind of houses is that when you drive by whole neighborhoods, 10, 12, 15, 20 blocks, identical the whole way through it,
Yeah.
That kind of creeps me out a little bit, I'm not going to lie.
What makes me nervous from a contractor's standpoint is that like city inspectors, they do these things where like let's say you own like a plumbing business and I was a city inspector.
Yeah.
And we've both been doing this for like 12 years, right? So I get a call to come look at one of your jobs. And I look at it and I recognize the name. I might just pass you.
Yeah.
Without looking because I trust you.
Right.
And that happens a lot,
Often.
especially in bigger areas like this. It
Yeah.
happens a lot. The town of Brentwood was like it was huge, right? So when we were kids There was nothing. Now it's like this up and coming town. It's huge. There's all
Right.
sorts of shit all over the place in Brentwood.
Yeah.
Especially housing. What happened was there was these huge contracts, right? Dudes were picking up like, I need you to build me 1,500 houses that look the same and put them all next to each other. So they built all these houses that look the same and they put them all next to each other. And then the guys at the city office were like, dude, I got to do like 1,100 inspections in like 3 weeks. How the fuck am I supposed to do that, right?
It's not possible, yeah.
They just started signing them off.
Oh, no.
And tons of those houses have a shit ton of mold issues.
Yep.
Because they're too close.
Yep.
They're so close that, they're all prone to growing mold. And in those city inspectors, they look back at their files and they were just signing and swiping, bro. They never went to any of these places.
Idiots, dude.
So whenever I see a cookie cutter neighborhood, I'm just like, I wonder what got away with what.
Yeah.
The electrician,
Something.
the carpenter,
Something.
the plumber, the HVAC.
God hopes that those people that are moving into those houses in this shitty market have spare funds after dumping 15-20%.
Oh yeah, and and it's a dirty industry too.
Dude.
Like I've seen people try to bribe me to say that shit works that it doesn't. I've seen, which means it happens to everybody, right? They're always trying to get out of some form of code.
Yeah.
I've also just seen like a lot of just dirty shit where people look the other way because they can.
Yeah.
And, so I don't think I'd ever buy like a cookie cutter house just because.
Yeah.
God damn it! Nobody looked at this fucking thing.
Dude.
Like there was 12 that day on that street that guy was supposed to look at, and he probably just went, "I saw one. I saw them all." You know? Like I've had.
He probably sees 2 to 3, and then they all look good.
Yeah.
Great.
I've had multiple times where I've been on like inspections from like a city, and the inspector shows up and fails us, and then I get sent back because I'm the more personable one.
Yeah.
So they'll send me to go meet the new inspector for the retest, even if I was never there for the first one.
Sure.
Even if I was never part of that job.
Yeah.
Like,
you
I
can talk.
I got the smile.
You got the gift of gab.
Yeah, so they'll send me to go talk to the guy, and more often than not, when I've met these inspectors, they go, "Did you guys do the stuff?" And I'd be like, "Yeah," and they would just sign it. One of them made me. One of them.
Not even check.
I had to go to because I had to set up a ladder for the guy.
Yeah.
So I set up the ladder. I waited 2 hours for him. He showed up. We walked to the top of the stairs. He looked at the ladder and he went, "So did you guys put that gas valve on there?" And I was like, "Yeah, we did." And he's like, "All right, cool, you're done."
Okay.
And it's just like,
you're not gonna triple check the gas
not even
valve?
gonna kind of check. Yeah, like
it's
I'll
the
take your word
gas
for it. It's like you didn't take our
dude.
word for it the first time, but okay.
Like, can't people potentially die off that shit?
Yeah.
you
Some of them
know?
are just
Like,
lazy. I've had them.
What the fuck?
I've had them tell me like, you need to be there because you guys fucked something up on the roof, and like they get there and they don't go on the roof. They just sign the paper because they don't want to.
That's bullshit.
It's a lot of
when
that.
it becomes like the safety shit, that should not be.
And it's because we're
know?
such a big populace. Like, everybody's trying to make fucking money.
Yeah.
That these guys are just flying through them. And again, if you've known somebody for long enough, you're just like, fuck it. He probably knows what he's doing. And then if that guy had a bad day, then he didn't know what he was doing. You know, I've no
oversight on something.
I know what I'm doing, but I can also light a house on fire pretty easily with what I do.
Sure.
I can fuck something up and kill everybody in a house.
Plenty of people can do any job for any amount of time and still make mistakes.
Yeah, we're all human.
Of course, 100%.
So there you go, folks. The moral of this episode is don't buy a cookie cutter house.
Moral of this fucking episode is if you buy a house in general, learn how to take care of it yourself. Apparently.
And Mongolians just generally bad.